Hey everyone, Trevor at Toploaded Gaming, and I finally did it. I've been talking about trading away my S.C.A.T cart for the Game Boy Color for a while now, since about 2016. I've been going back and forth and trying to find the right person to make the right trade for it, and I finally did it. I traded my S.C.A.T cart away. So it might anger certain people. People might feel like I didn't get a good enough deal. I don't know. I may even come to regret it. But as of right now, I don't. Because honestly, while I like the newer S.C.A.T games, I just wasn't playing this one. I would try and put it on, and I was just too bored with it to try and figure it out. I don't know. Maybe that's a slight on me. I don't know. But I traded it, so we're gonna see what I ended up getting. But first, so let's see if we can trigger some collectors here, because people kind of hate when this happens. But if you've ever seen footage of my shelves, even something back here, you know, you see all kind of figures on my shelves. I open the figures I get and I decorate my shelves with them. That's just what I do. I'm sorry, but that's what I do. So I've been trying to get this one. One of my buddies got it, and I was like, they made that one? I've been trying to stay away from a lot of the figures, because really I have way more than enough to decorate my shelves forever. So even if I expand my shelves, I have enough to decorate everything, you know. So I've been trying to stay away from spending money on this type of stuff and concentrate on buying games, you know, what the whole thing's supposed to be about. But this one is one I had to have. You know, it looks so cool. The only thing is, I feel like that's stupid about it is I keep buying these Link figures, and I feel like everyone they've made so far is like really horrible at standing. They always fall off my shelf, constantly. Every one of the Link figures that Jack Specific has made always falls, no matter what. I mean, you can tiptoe around my shelves and they just fall. But we're gonna give this one a shot, and let's see what turns out. And it comes with his bow, and it comes with the Guardian arrow. So that's pretty cool. I kind of like that. So now let's get into the trade. So we went kind of back and forth for a while, and if anybody's ever watched any of my Retropalooza videos, I had taken my S.C.A.T cart to Retropalooza in hopes to find a trade way back then, and that was Retropalooza Houston 2016. And they had this booth where they had these guys that I think what it was is one of the guys knew a old owner of a rental store that had closed down, and he finally got the rental store owner guy, to take him to his storage, and they made this deal to buy like hundreds and hundreds of boxes for the Nintendo and the Super Nintendo. This booth was crazy. It was probably the busiest booth for Retropalooza, because they had kind of decent prices too, you know. You can like go up and just get like an empty box for like $8 to $20 depending on the box. And I mean, like, I got my Battletoads box, I think it was like $8 I got for just the box. I mean, that's not bad. So everybody was at this booth. It was crazy. And despite it being crazy, I was showing my S.C.A.T card to somebody. I don't even remember who. And the guy at that booth, despite the fact that there was like 8 people there, saw what I was holding in my hand, like from 20 feet away, and came up to me like, dude, I really would like that card. I've been looking for it everywhere. I don't want to resell it or anything like that. I need it in my collection. And at the time, I was looking for a few things. I wanted some sort of PC Engine setup or Turbo Duo setup or something like that, and I didn't want to get some system that I'd have to mod. I didn't want some system that had RF out only, so that was kind of holding some of the trades back, because the few people that did have any sort of Turbo Graphics or PC Engine or whatever, well, to be honest, the little people that did have a system like that, it was only a Turbo Graphics, and it ended up being something where it was only like they only had the RF out or something like that. And I kind of wanted one that was ready to go, and at least had composite out, but so I couldn't find any sort of Turbo Duo or PC Engine type setup. Then I started trying to trade for possibly a Ninja Gaiden trilogy, and I think what I was trying to get the guy to do was do a Ninja Gaiden trilogy in the box. And I think if I'm not mistaken, the offer was I'd give him Shintae, and he would give me Ninja Gaiden trilogy, the cart, and the box, but just no manual. And I think I would have maybe threw in like $50 or something to him. I think. I'm not sure. This was a while back, but we couldn't reach an agreement. And back then I was still a little more iffy. I didn't want to get rid of the card as much as I thought I did. But recently I got on Facebook and I put it in some of the groups that I'm in. And one guy hits me up, and I had put a list of certain things I was looking for. And this guy had 2 of the, like, really the list I put was like 5 NES games or 4 NES games, and he had 2 out of the lot. And I was like, sweet, I'm seriously considering doing this. And we kept going back and forth, and finally we came to an agreement. So, this is some of the stuff that I ended up with. Now, for continuity's sake, just in case it comes up, I did have the case for X-Men already, but I didn't have the cart. So, but this guy, this was one of the first things I'm gonna show, but he sent me X-Men in the cart. Now, my cart, the tab was taken off the case, so I mean, that's a little better. And then, like, as I said, I didn't have the cart, but it didn't come with the manual. Not a big deal to me. This really wasn't the goal. This was just kind of like sweetening the pot, just another game that I didn't have. I remember renting X-Men for the Genesis when I was a kid, because I had it. The way it was like I got a Nintendo, then I got a Genesis at some point. I think I was maybe 12, maybe 13. But I want to say I was 12 when I got my Sega Genesis. And I remember renting X-Men, and I could never get past, what was it, the Savage Land, which I think was the second level. But I could never get past the Savage Land. And then I got X-Men 2 for my birthday, I want to say. And I always wanted to go back and buy X-Men for the Genesis and beat that game. But I could never find it in a store or anything. I could only ever find it at a rental store. So, needless to say, I never got it back. But finally, I have the cart back to play. So that's really cool. I plan on eventually covering the X-Men games for the Genesis on my channel. So that's going to be fun. So, in keeping with the X-Men theme, and, this isn't really some, like, super hard to find game or anything, but Uncanny X-Men for the Nintendo. This is one I hadn't found yet. Uh, and just to try out the card to make sure it worked, I put it on, and Jesus, this game seems like a mess. And obviously, there's no shock to anyone that it's made by LJN, but I really thought it would be a little better than what it looked like. I mean, it looks like I keep getting stuck and stuff, and I don't know, it just kind of looks confusing. I'm gonna have to, like, I don't know, maybe download the manual or look up some people's theories on what the game's about. But it just seems like they have these drops, and I have no idea what the drops are, if it gives you powers or what. And granted, I only played it for like 5 minutes, just testing the card out. So, I am very ignorant to this game at this point. But I finally got it, so I'm gonna get more acquainted with it in the future. Next up, we have Puss in Boots. Which, again, it's not some really hard to find game or anything, but it's another game I didn't have. And it was just like, these 3 games I just mentioned were kind of just pot sweeteners, just like, you know, give me like 3 games I don't have, and we'll seal this deal up. And that's what he did. He sent me a list, and I picked 3 games out that I didn't have, and he threw those in with, you know, the games I'm about to mention. And I was just like, you know what? Let's do it. Before I change my mind, let's exchange, you know, shipping information, and let's get this done. As far as Puss in Boots goes, just me testing it a second ago is the first time I've ever played that game, seen footage of that game played. I'm not sure how much I like it so far, but I'm definitely going to try it again. I mean, I try and play all the games that I get, but it didn't look that interesting, but who knows? There's a lot of games that people hate that I like. Kickmaster. Now, recently I kind of got into Castlevania games, and this kind of looked like Castlevania but kicking to me. So I was kind of interested in it, and I only watched a few minutes of gameplay, so it's kind of like this new game that I've never really had or played or anything that I'm gonna get to try out, and it looks like a solid game, so I'm gonna start kind of learning and developing strategy for it, and I'll eventually beat it on my channel. So I can't really go into any memories about this game because I never knew it existed. So, but I've been looking for this game for a while because I've been hearing nothing but good things about it from pretty much everyone on Facebook and YouTube and everything. So I'm really excited to finally get this thing in my collection. And last, I've been looking for this game for quite a while. I have this game for the Virtual Console for, I think, my Wii, and I have it on the Wii U, I think. Maybe on my 3DS. I don't remember. I have it on an eShop or Virtual Console or something. It's a shooter, so right up my alley. I have been looking for this game for the longest time, and when this guy said he has Kickmaster and S.C.A.T, and there's no in-label damage to either one of them. I mean, you know, like, say the label right here is like cut off or something right here or something like that, or, you know, diagonally right here or something like that. I don't want to get a cart like that, obviously, but you know, if the price is right or something like that, and the in label isn't messed up, I'm down. But if this in label's messed up, that's like a deal breaker to me. You know, like, everybody kind of hates the fact that the N64 doesn't have, you know, in labels on the end. People go out of their way to print them or buy them to put them on, you know. And to me, I don't know, it's just one of my OCD things. Like, I don't like my NES carts to not have an in label. So, but anyways, I never played this game as a kid, never knew it really existed. But when, I want to say it was the 3DS eShop is where I got this game from. But I saw that it was a shooter, and it kind of looked like almost like Forgotten Worlds to me. That's what I thought. So I was like, oh, I'll try it out. I think it was like $3.99 or something like that on the eShop. And one night I was at work, I was bored. I set up the old hotspot on my phone, linked up my 3DS, and went to the eShop and downloaded it. And it was like, hell yeah, this is a pretty decent game for the 8-bit NES. It's a pretty decent shooter. So ever since then, I've been wanting to get it. But the price, it's always been kind of out of my reach. And here's the thing about trading. You know, when I first started this channel, you know, I had spent hundreds of dollars on not only Shantae, because I paid pretty much full price, and not on eBay either. I paid full price pretty much in the wild. I bought it from one of my friends and paid that much for it. And my Flintstones Surprise the Dinosaur Peak cart, I paid like $600 for it. And yeah, okay, that's not that bad of a price for Dino Peak. Sure, some people would say. Okay, because it goes between like $7,000 and $1,000 on eBay all day or whatever. But at the same time, I don't spend money on games like that anymore. I try not to spend over $100 on a single game anymore. I mean, unless it's like some brand new box set or some special situation or something like that. I try not to do it. I mean, I'll just emulate it until I'm able to, you know, trade or something like that. So, especially recently watching some of Bithead's videos, seeing the way that he sort of kind of got his TurboGrafx collection, it really kind of influenced me to like let go of some of the games that I have that I'm hoarding that I'll never play. You know, there's some games that I have that I'll just never play, and they're actually worth a little bit. So why not get rid of some of those games that I'll never play and get games that I absolutely want to play? You know, to me that makes sense. You know, now obviously some people are gonna be like, I cannot believe you got rid of a Grail game for the Game Boy Color, you know, to get these two, you know, NES games. But, you know, the price point that these two games are at, and the price point that Shantae's at, I feel like it was worth it to just have games that I'd rather be playing right now, you know? And maybe, I don't know, maybe later on, Shantae might be worth 10 grand or something. I seriously doubt that, but maybe. But the thing is if you're getting into video games to make a profit or something, then you might as well just not get into gaming. You know, if you're here to make a profit, especially now, it's I don't think it's gonna happen for you. You know, unless you severely lucky or something. I seriously doubt it's gonna happen for you. To me, getting into gaming to make a profit doesn't really make sense. But that's just my opinion. But this is a game that I'm probably, honestly, going to cover this game on my channel probably next. This will probably be the next game you see me beat. Now, I say that about a ton of games. I've probably said that about Gradius 5 and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles at this point, but I was in the middle, when I made this trade, I was in the middle of trying to start tackling Battletoads. And I'm pretty much consistently getting to the, I don't know the name of the level, but it's the level right after the surfing level or whatever, the snake level, where all the snakes keep coming out and you gotta keep jumping higher and higher on the snakes or whatever. I can pretty much consistently get to that one. So I mean, I've got the turbo tunnel kind of down. So I feel like I'm eventually, gonna beat the game. But now that I have this one, and shooters are basically my favorite genre, it's like a new shooter for the Nintendo, dude. I gotta get this. I gotta beat this game as soon as possible. So I'm probably gonna work on this one. I'm probably gonna table Battletoads for now and work on this one. In the future, I'm going to be setting up some trades on Facebook. So if you'd be interested in trading with me for some things, look up Toploaded Gaming on Facebook. I have a lot of boxed Super Nintendo games that I'm gonna be probably trading. I'm actually negotiating a trade right now for a Sink or Swim, SOS Sink or Swim, in the box, and that game kind of jumped up in price. I wasn't expecting that. I didn't think it had jumped up in price like that. I saw how much that game was kind of going for, and I'm like, what the hell is this game doing in my collection? I could basically get like a Dracula X with this game, or a Bucky O'Hare and a Contra Force or something like that, Bucky O'Hare and a Felix the Cat and Wampum or something, I don't know. But that's what I'm gonna kind of start to do. So if you're interested in keeping up with it, hit me up on Facebook. Look up Toploaded Gaming, and I also have an email. You could reach me if somebody would maybe want a list or something. You can reach me at Trevor 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 at toploadedgaming.com. You can reach me at that email. And then one more last announcement for the channel is I recently upgraded my camera, and it's not something super special or anything, but it's a newer camera. And what I'm gonna do is I also figured out something that's been plaguing my videos for years recently in Sony Vegas. It was just this simple little setting that I wasn't hitting, and I was having these interlacing problems. And I feel like my game room tour video is plagued by this interlacing issue. So every time I'm like panning across my game shelf, you can't really see shit because it's has all these interlacing lines. Just looks like shit. Okay, so now that I have a new camera and I have that issue taken care of in the rendering settings and all that, I'm gonna probably do an updated game tour video. And I kind of feel like I glossed over some of the things that I could have talked about. It's kind of like I don't like when people just show their game room like I did. I kind of like when people talk about their history and what they grew up with and whatever. So that's gonna be a newer video coming up soon. Is I'm gonna do a more in-depth game room and kind of conversation, my background with gaming and stuff like that, how I got into collecting and what systems I had as a kid, and who knows, I might even, if I can get them captured, I might even break out some old footage from when I was a kid, for like Christmases and stuff like that. But that's gonna do it for me. This is Trevor at Toploaded Gaming. See you next time.